Hey, welcome to the Vinyl Attic for unboxing day. I guess because the holidays are approaching, we're starting to get more reissues flooding the market. And there's two that I've been really excited about opening and playing and listening to. And I wanted to share them with you. The first one is Patti Smith's first album, Horses. Here it is. This week is the 50th anniversary. Released on November 10th, 1975. And this is the special 50th anniversary edition that has extra tracks, I think. And so let's open it up and see. That produced by John Cale, the Velvet Underground. This is when Patti was coming out of the spoken word scene in the East Village. Her first album. This album actually made it into the top 50, which is amazing to think how cool music was 50 years ago, that this album was in the top 50. No hits on it. So let's open it up and see what it looks like. So this is a 2 LP set featuring the iconic album remastered direct from the original master tapes, with previously unreleased outtakes and rarities, including 1975 audition tape. That's what it says on the sticker. Okay, let's gently open this up. I've been very excited about this. Got it at Wax and Facts. That's Atlanta. Music Millennium. I'm in the wrong city. I got it at Music Millennium here in Portland. Gently remove the shrink wrap. The original didn't open up. The original is over there in the stack somewhere. Okay, so let's take a look. Here we go. Ready? Cool. There's the band. All right. There's the band. Many of them are still playing with her. Alright, let's see what we get here. So here's the original album. And it's on black vinyl. We'll pull it out. And then we get an extra disc with demos and recordings from that time period. Okay, so I will listen to that and I'll let you know. We'll be back up here in a second. Or later today to tell you what it sounds like. That's very cool. On Arista, on the original label. There's Lenny Kaye. Right there. Who's, the great guitarist. Okay, so Patti Smith is our first unboxing. That's the first reissue we're going to listen to. The second one, 2 years earlier, 1973. Now, this is an album I've been dying to get my hands on vinyl. It hasn't been available in any form, streaming, for a very, very long time. I worked at a record store in Atlanta called Turtles Records, and it was continually on the cutout rack, up on the wall where it would be 2 albums for $5.99. And I always wanted, I liked it, the cover was interesting. I always wanted to get it, and I didn't. And then later, when it became such a rarity, I wish I'd bought all those cutouts and just stuck them in a box for 30 years. We're speaking of the Buckingham Nicks album. Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham, met in high school in Atherton, California, at a young life meeting, like young Christians in 1966. Began singing together. She was a senior in high school. He was a junior. That power dynamic would shift over the years. In fact, the story is she didn't want to do this nude cover, and Lindsey convinced her. And so there you go. There's that, you can go your own way, you two. But this is before they joined Fleetwood Mac. But one of the tracks on this album was playing in the studio that Mick Fleetwood was checking out. And he's like, who is that? I like that. The album was a total stiff. But Mick Fleetwood heard them singing together. And as the band was transitioning from the Bob Welch phase to whatever was coming next, he recruited them into Fleetwood Mac, where they would record the eponymous Fleetwood Mac album in 1975. Okay, so this album has been unavailable forever. So let's take a look at what this one looks like. Legendary debut solo album, available for the first time in over 40 years. That's what it says right there. So there you go. This is quite, it's almost like a holy grail type thing. Okay, let's do this. Oh, it's got a gatefold. Okay. Again, removing the shrink wrap carefully. Sometimes people save these things. I've saved some over the years, and I don't really do it much anymore unless it's maybe Beatle related. Okay, the back cover. Let's open it. There you go. Look at that. Looks like a classic 70s album. It's got the lyrics. Oh, Crystal, that's such a great song. Let's take a look at the vinyl. Oh, looks like this one's on colored vinyl. Look at that. Nice blue. Wow. Cool. All right. I'm going to be listening to Patti Smith and Buckingham Nicks today, and I'll be back up in the vinyl attic to share my thoughts. Maybe these are things that you want to put on your list of Santa Claus this year. Cool. See you in a bit. Okay. I've had a fun day playing these records, so let's talk about them. Let's start with Patti Smith's Horses, released 50 years ago this month, recorded in Electric Land Studio. It's a great package. I mean, it really is nice. It has this great, Patti's got a new book coming out, and so she's always writing great stuff. And there's this one little passage I wanted to read. It so captures this record, which I have lived with since I was a teenager. I mean, this record is a record that whenever I'm walking down McDougal Street, I find myself singing songs, hoping to run into Patti. We did not create our album to garnish fortune or fame. It was made for the marginalized, the shunned, for the girls grasping the banner, the neo-boys forming. I chose to open with our version of Gloria, claiming the right to create without apology from this dance beyond gender and social definition. Of course, her version of Van Morrison's Gloria is epic. Jesus died for somebody's sins, but not mine. I mean, it's just one of the most great opening lines. This was the early days of when punk rock was sort of forming at Max's and CBGB's, and this album always captures that. I'll have to say the vinyl is not that great. I don't think Arista has ever been known for its quality vinyl records, if I can say that. It's remastered, so I bet the CD sounds amazing. It's a little bit scratchy on the vinyl. But the extra disc, the demos and outtakes is just great stuff, including a different version of Gloria in Redondo Beach and Birdland, and a song called Snowball, written with her and Lenny Kaye. Kimberly, Break It Up, Distant Fingers, which gets incorporated into Land, and The Hunter gets captured by the game. I think that's a Smokey Robinson song, maybe. And then We Three that ends up on Easter. Those are really worth having. Hearing the early versions of these songs coming together is really great. I love this. Just to have it on vinyl. I mean, what an iconic album cover this is. It's just really worth having. And I love that Patti is still there. I just saw her on the Colbert Report, Late Night with Stephen Colbert this past week, talking about her new book. Okay, this one, now this is a record I've been dying to have in my hands for decades and decades and decades. I love it. It is, it comes out roughly a month before Fleetwood Mac's Mystery to Me, their great album, from the Bob Welch era. They had one more Bob Welch album after that before these two got in the band. But Mystery to Me, in my heart, is the best Stevie Nicks the best Christine McVie album. Christine McVie's songs on that album are so great. So I can imagine putting this album, because it does sound like Fleetwood Mac. I mean, let's be honest. It's got Stevie sounding like Stevie, Lindsey Buckingham's guitar sounding very, familiar from listening to those Fleetwood Mac records. So it does have that Fleetwood Mac sound. But it also has some other great musicians. Waddy Wachtel, who the guitarist from Linda Ronstadt's band and played with Keith Richards. Jim Keltner, the guy that played drums on basically all the great Beatles solo albums. Jerry Schiff, the bass player from Elvis Presley's band, is the bass player on this record. I mean, it's good. It's just not quite there. And it really was a commercial failure when it came out, and it just didn't have the hook. It needed the rest of the magic of the members of Fleetwood Mac to really bring out the thing that was special between these two. But it sounds great. It sounds really great on vinyl. I'm really happy to have it. It's a great package, and I finally own Buckingham Nicks, and you can too. All right, I wanted to kind of just share those with you. 2 great reissues just in time for the holidays. If you're putting together your list, I put both those on them. Really great stuff. All right, we're going to get back to our 100 album count through next. So stay tuned. You know, this music matters. These artists matter. They're still fighting, by the way, but they matter. Patti, she is letting the people know that they have the power. Patti definitely matters. She's still out there. Follow her on Substack. She'll just bombard you with messages on a regular basis. She's a little bit of a workaholic, I think. Anyway, these artists matter. You matter. Let's talk about it.